All right, so welcome to this session, and it's all about a cooling practice. We want to stay cool in Australia in the summertime, and it's been very, very hot and humid on the eastern seaboard. So I thought it would be good to do a cooling practice. And for the practice today, we'll need a few things. Be handy to have a chair at some point towards the end of the class, and a belt and a bolster or a folded blanket just to support your head as we go along. What else? I think that will do, and we'll just begin by taking a lying down position on your mat. Let's go. When you lie on your back, as we are now, it gives you a chance to get grounded. So sometimes you're getting to your practice and not necessarily giving yourself time to settle. So take this time now and feel the weight of your body on the mat and just let go. Just have the sense that you're yielding to gravity and you're comfortably supported there. And then we'll work with the breath straight away. Bend your legs and have your knees towards your chest. Reach out and hold at the front of each knee, one hand each knee. And then working with the breath, exhale, draw the legs close to you. Inhale, straighten your arms and draw the legs away. So we'll do a few cycles like this until we build up some momentum with the breath. And the breath is like a metronome and gives us a rhythm to start our practice with. Exhale as you draw your thighs near to your abdomen. There's a salutary exercise for the digestive organs and the organs of elimination. And we'll leave it there for the moment and bring your feet back down to the ground. Feel the ground again through the weight on your sacrum. And let's do a little kindness to your upper part of your back and just press your shoulders into the floor and open up the corners of your chest. Let's alternately press back and exhale, and then inhale and release. Feel the shoulder blades retract as you press back and then release to their normal position. And just two more of those, exhaling, pressing the shoulders into the mat, and then inhale and releasing. All right, let's go back to working with the lower part of your body and your feet close to your buttocks. Feel the grounding through your feet, and then bend your elbows and rest your hands across your abdomen. On the inhale, inflate the abdomen a little bit. Big breath in, and then on the exhale, press the breath out. We'll increase the depth of the breath just so that you can, as I'm feeling it, you might feel it too, that movement through the base of your spine. So a little rocking through the pelvis from anterior position to posterior. And that's the movement that we use for the bridge poses, which we'll do in a moment. First, just release your arms back down onto the floor. Pause there. And in order to do a kind of safe way of doing those bridges, let's open up the sides of the body. So take your arm overhead. Let's say that's the arm that's facing the camera. And then extend the same side leg out. So the arms are stretching in opposite direction. Arm is extending away from the leg, leg away from the arm. On the inhalation, open up on the lateral body. On the exhalation, release. On the inhalation, there's that cross stretch from your hand to your foot to your hand, and then releasing on the exhalation. Beautiful. And then fold that leg in, fold your arm in, back to where you started. And then let's do opposite leg and extend the leg away from the arm, stretch your arm overhead, and one long lean line on the side body, stretching the muscles, also the fascia of the side body, and then releasing. And one more stretch like that, and then releasing with both feet on the floor again and your arms by your side. So let's now take that into the bridge lifts. Press your feet. Begin to lift your pelvis off the floor. Let's come up on an exhalation, and with a small lift and tilt of your pelvis, and then back to ground. We'll come up on an exhalation. Pause at the top, take an inhalation, and lower down on the exhalation, and articulating the spine until the pelvis is resting all over again. Let's do one more of those. And if you haven't done it, turn the arms out. Turn the upper arms out where the shoulder joint is. Keep pressure onto the feet and move the front of your thighs towards your knees. Lower down a little at a time until the pelvis is resting again, and just let go for a moment and be supported by gravity. Let's challenge your position. So come all the way up again. And you might check to see that the pelvis not tilting right, not tilting left, so the hip points are in a parallel line. Your lift coming from the buttocks and the backs of the thighs, and not so much from the arch of the back. And in your lifted position, balance your weight onto your left foot, say, and without tilting the pelvis, lift your right heel, and then see if you can bring your right leg up without lifting the hip points, so the hips are still parallel. And then lower that leg back to the floor. Press the right foot firmly into the floor. Keep the hips level and begin to lift your left heel, and then your left foot and leg comes up to a raised position, and then back down where you started, and 2 feet on the ground, and lowering down from your bridge pose and all the way down to rest. Relax completely. As long as we're getting a nice warm up for this lower part of your body, let's do one more movement. Press your feet, start to lift your hips, lifting up as little or as much as you want at this point. And then do a side movement and move your, let's say, the hip facing the camera towards the camera while keeping the weight even on both feet, while keeping those hip points level. Then back into center And let's go opposite, away from the camera, without dropping that right hip, and back into center, and then lowering all the way down, having warmed up the back and the abdominal muscles. Let's work with the abdominal muscles, resting on the floor. Bend your right leg in, extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. You might not be ready for a full hamstring stretch, but you could reach around and hold the back of the right thigh, or that, in my situation, it's the leg facing the camera, and then extend that leg up straight as you can and press your back thigh into your hands. Feel the front thigh switch on, those muscles strong, and relax a little bit. Make sure that you're not lifting the hip away from the floor. And then pressing into your hands once more. The front thigh engaged, and relax, and bring the right foot to the floor. Pause, make sure that the hips are level and there's no torquing of the lower back. Bend your left leg in, extend the left leg up, hold at the back of the thigh, and press into your hands, switching on the quadricep muscles, and relax a little bit. And then press out again against the resistance of your hands. Keep your raised foot flexed, and then release back to the floor. We'll do a couple more of the leg movements, and with the belt this time. So grab your yoga strap. And bend your right leg into your chest and slip the belt around the ball of your right foot. Extend your leg up straight, and then once more use that sense to straighten the leg, tighten the quadricep, the front thigh muscle, all the way up to the hip fold, but keep the back of the thigh onto the back of the buttock onto the floor. Have a look at your right foot, your raised foot, and circle it. Take advantage of kind of waking up those ankle bones, your foot bones, and then circle the other way. I'm holding a two-hand grip onto about one hand each side, and I'm going to go sideways. Hold the belt just into your right hand. Let your left leg, so your left foot's still on the floor, let your left knee drop out to the left. Take your right leg out to the right. So you're kind of doing a splits action in the inner thigh muscles, the adductors, at the same time as keeping the weight level on the back of the pelvis. Right side, left side, even weight. Bring that leg all the way up, and then the left knee is up straight, and let's slip the belt off for side two. Left leg working this time, slip the belt onto the left foot, and then let's do our ankle rotations. So having a look at your left foot, circling one direction and then opposite direction. Lovely. And then straight leg, straight as you can, reaching up through the left heel towards the ceiling and down through the left sitting bone towards the floor. Hold the belt into your left hand. Drop your right arm out to the right. Drop your right knee out to the right. And then let's see how we can stretch that left leg left. And once more, opening up through the adductors and the groins. while keeping an even weight on the back pelvis. Bring that leg all the way up to the vertical. Right knee comes up too, and then slip the belt off. And you'll need support for your head. I've got a little bolster that I use as a pillow for the back of my head. And you could use a folded blanket or a bigger bolster. It's always important when we support the neck and the head that it really does feel like support. So once you're settled onto that support, we're going to take a side lying position. So I'm going to lie facing the camera so you can see me. And with my legs bent at a right angle at the hips and at the backs of the knees. So we do a little work on the upper back. We did that shoulder press, but now we're going to do a rotation for the dorsal thoracic. So extend your arms out straight in front of your chest and rest one hand on top of the other. You're going to do a little slide movement with your upper hand and allow the hand to come forward. And your head kind of rolling down, your nose coming down a little closer to the support, and then coming back. And rolling forward, and bringing that hand back. Next time you do this, take the top hand, lift the head, lift the arm, and then bring it back a little behind the line of the body. So do an overhead stretch and back, and just allowing how much movement can you get there. It might be a little, it might be a lot. And then coming back to base and both hands together. Let's bring that arm up and up towards the ceiling, and then back behind the line of the body if that is allowed. If your body will allow that much movement, and then coming back to base. One more time for that back rotation and coming from right to left and overhead. And then this time when you bring your hand down, and we're back to starting position, bend your elbow, top hand, elbow, bring your fingertips onto your shoulder and circle that elbow. And it's up to you about how much of a circle you make, how big or how small. And then reverse directions. And just warming up that arm into the shoulder joint. And then pause and see if it's there for you to make these circles with a straighter arm. So you might have found that the short lever of your arm was working for you, and it might work now to challenge yourself a little bit more and make these circles bigger. And reverse directions, staying with the short lever or the longer one, and bringing that arm further back behind the line of the body, if that feels like a safe movement for your arm and shoulder. And coming all the way back, joining hands again, and we're going to reverse sides. So I'm going to turn all the way around so that I'm still facing the camera. And lying in the same position, my neck and head supported, and then straight arms out in front of the chest and top hand resting on the bottom hand. So sliding back a little bit, gliding that hand back and coming towards the opposite shoulder, and then sliding the hand forward. And let's seesaw that movement forward and back. And the movement mainly from the upper back and not so much from the pelvis. So there's less movement in the pelvis and more movement in the dorsal thoracic. And let's add the rotation. So bend your top elbow, reach your fingertips onto your shoulder, and circle that arm in the shoulder joint. So smaller movement here, reverse directions. And then adding on that bigger movement. And this shoulder complex might feel completely different than the first side. I have more ease of movement on this side, so acknowledging that. But stay with the small lever of your arm if you need to protect your shoulder a little bit more. And reversing directions. And back to base, and two hands joined, and pausing there in a relaxed position. So let's move on, and we're well positioned to move into all fours position. So help yourself up to kneeling. I tend to use doubled up mats, and that makes more comfort for my knees. Or you could have a blanket under your knees if you so choose. Let's, in all fours position, just check our posture. So my hands at this point are directly underneath my shoulders, my knees directly, my hips directly over my knees. From here, keep your knees hip width distance, keep your feet apart as well, and let's just do a forward and back movement. Lowering the buttocks towards the heels, not all the way back just yet. And then in your forward position, bringing the chest forward of your hands. Coming back and leading with hip flexion, folding at the hip fold, and then coming forward and leading with the lungs and the heart. Let's do that a couple more times, and you might feel like you're starting to approach being able to lower the buttocks toward the hips towards the heels. And in the forward position, be careful of your wrists. As you bring your chest more forward, there's more pressure on the wrist joint. Last time that you come up, then we're in the original position, neutral position, and let's do a little side to side movement. So on the side facing the camera, bring your hip closer to the camera without dropping the opposite hip. And then moving to center position and a little side position towards away from the camera. And into center and to the side, one hip, and center and opposite hip. You might feel that the abdominal muscles are moving here. I can feel this in those side abdominal muscles, the obliques. Back to center. Hold that center position, and then we'll come down onto elbows just to give the wrists a rest. Open all your fingers, stretch them, and then turn your palms up towards the ceiling and stretch all of your fingers in reverse. Stretch that thumb away from the little finger. And then coming back to all fours position and ready for the approach to Downward facing dog pose. Tuck your toes under. Lift your upper back, your dorsal thoracic up towards the ceiling. Press into your hands and then lift up hips and knees and stretch back. Let's just take one breath there, exhaling. Inhale back to ground. Open your chest forward. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Let's do a few of these. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, down dog. Maybe on each successive dog pose, we stretch the backs of the legs a little bit. We've already warmed them up, so the heels come closer to the floor. Let's hold downward facing dog pose and hold it. And notice where you're looking towards your mat. So keep your arms strong, straighten through your elbows, straighten through the backs of the legs, and lift the front of your throat a little bit. Lift your nose a little further away from the floor. So the neck and the back of the head line up with the rest of the spine. And then coming down to all fours. And it's a really good time for child's pose, and come back as much as you like at this point. Buttocks towards your heels, knees a little bit wide now, swing your feet closer together. Fold your hands and rest your head onto your folded hands. Come all the way up to stand. And I think this is a good point to do some balancing work. So I'm going to stand near to the wall in case I need it. I often need that support. And as you're standing on your feet, just soften the backs of your knees, relax your shoulders, and bring yourself into an upright position where you still feel relaxed. Upright, but not uptight. We'll do a simple balancing pose. Often I think it's simple, but it turns out not to be. And it's just a heel lift, but we lift both heels at the same time and come up onto the balls of our feet. And then straight away lower your heels. Next time that you do this, keep your weight towards the big toes. And when you do that, you're going to switch on the inner thigh muscles to help you maintain your lift. And coming up in a straight line, lift the heels. Keep your weight towards the inside of your toes, big toe base, and the adductor muscles on the inside of the thighs switch on, and lower the heels. And coming up and holding that heel lift. Keep your gaze just out towards the horizon. And if you're able to balance like this, and we're keeping the heels up now, then see how you go turning your head to the side, looking over one shoulder, center, the other shoulder, and back to center, and coming back down. All right, relax at the backs of your knees. Give your legs a little bit of a shake out. We're going to do that all over again, and with a slightly more focused way of doing it. So make sure that you're breathing this time. It's no good if we can hold the pose, but we're holding our breath to keep the hold. So make sure that you're breathing, and also feel into the back body at the same time. Sometimes we're all falling forward without that body sense of the back body. So coming up all over again. And notice your breath. And feel the breath even into the backs of the lungs, the back of the heart. and slowly lowering the heels. That seemed to work really well for me. I hope it worked for you. All right, let's do some heel lifts separately. So lift your right heel, lift your left heel, lower your left heel, lower your right heel. Starting on the opposite side, lift your left heel, lift your right heel, lower your right heel, lower your left heel. Starting on the left side again, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left. I think I might have gotten lost along the way. So I like that exercise for the kind of the rolling feeling that exercises my toes at the same time. So we'll do a little more of that and step the right foot in front of the left foot. So we're not doing tandem where the heel is in front of the back foot, big toe. The stance is the same. You're just stepping forward with your right foot. A little separation between your thighs and your feet. And then see if you can rock forward and lift your left heel. So that's my back heel, whatever your back heel is. And then roll back and lift the front foot. Roll forward, lift the back heel. Roll back, lift the front forefoot. Go back and forth in that rocking fashion. Notice if you're still breathing. And the next time that you rock forward, see if you can balance somewhere in between, where you've lifted the back heel, and at the same time you're, I'm going to use my wall here, lifting the front forefoot and holding that position. So you're somewhere in between. And then it's time to reverse. And releasing and step opposite foot forward. And let's go forward and back. That rocking fashion. And notice along the way, it's not that you're just working with your toes, your foot bones, your ankles. This kind of transfers all the way up into the pelvis and the spinal column. All right, and then let's challenge ourselves with that in-between movement. Back heel lifts, forefoot lifts. Relax your shoulders. You're breathing calmly. And then lower and step your feet in a line. Good. And then after all that concentration, give your feet a good shake out, your legs a shake out, wiggle your hips. And let's go on keeping in mind some balance that what we're going to do, but we're going to do it from a side-lying position on your mat. So I'm going to lie on my right side, and also be facing the camera. And let's say in what we're doing that we're aiming to do a pose called anatasana, which is the reclining Buddha pose. But we're going to start out in this lying down position and just working to balance on the lower hip. I've moved to the back of my mat, so I know that I'm lying in a straight line, and my arm supporting my head like a little pillow, and the other hand, the other arm in front of my body, and I'm balancing on my hand. Make sure that your heels line up with the back of your pelvis, and so you're in that straight line. From here, all you're going to do is to ground the lower leg, switch on your buttock muscles, the glutes, and probably your core muscles too, and drawing the abdominal muscles up towards your diaphragm. And then just raise your top leg a little bit. Flex that foot. And once you flex the foot, you can extend along the line of the leg all the way to the heel bone and stretch it out. So we're holding that leg up with the help of the upper thigh muscles, and then lower it down. Lowering down, just find your balance point again and relax. Raise that leg for one more time. Extend out through your heel. Feel long at the back of your top leg. And let's challenge your balance just that little bit more. Can you remove your supporting hand and extend that top arm up towards the ceiling? Good. Keep the pelvis stable. And then let's challenge you further and bring the arm out in front of your chest and parallel to the floor. Use your core muscles here. Inhale that arm up. Keep extending out through the top leg that's still raised, and exhale down. I'm going to raise and lower the arm for one more time. And when you bring your arm down, then bend your elbow. Use your hand for support again. Lower the top leg. Beautiful. So working with the strength of the outer thigh muscles, the glute med, we're going to do this in the bent leg position. So from here, bend your legs, and you'll have a right angle position at the hips and at the back of the knees. So the heels line up with the back of the knees. Pause there. Keep the side body grounded into the mat, but lift your waist a little bit. So you're not pressing your ribs and your waist into the floor. You're lifting from there. And it's your arm and hip that balances. And then from here, and with support with your top hand, we're going to work with the legs again. And lift your top leg away from the bottom leg, but only to the height of your hip. And hold that position. And then lower again. Once more, lifting the leg. This time, keep the leg up, and let's try to challenge our stability. So bring your top arm up again, stretch it up, and lower it down. And up again, and lowering down. And this time when you lower your arm down, lower that top leg, and you've given some really great work towards stability with your outer hip muscles. Let's do the other side. Anatasana. Stay here. Grab your belt. So you're still on your right side. Extend out your legs. Good. From here, get that stable position again. Bend your top leg and slide your foot along the inseam of your shorts or your tights until the foot's close enough to you to grab it with the belt. Now you can see why we did all that early work. So once you've got a hold of your foot, you're going to extend that leg to whatever extent you can. If you find that the leg feels limited in this movement, you can bring it a little bit in front of the line of the body. But that might throw you off balance too. So use your core muscles. Press your top arm down, bottom arm down, your bottom leg down. And then lower that leg and extend that leg on top of the bottom leg. All right, and then let's take a moment lying prone. So you're just going to roll onto your belly and fold your arms and rest your head onto your folded hands. Give your hips a little bit of a shake out so your buttocks feel like they're relaxed, no tension there. And from here, we're going to move on to the second side. So you were side lying on one side. Now we'll switch over to the other side. So as you've set yourself up in a straight line along the back of your mat, find your balance, and you might be noticing a difference between the ease of balancing on one side against the other. I think I've got a little less stability on this side. There's more teeter-tottering going on. So I'm going to raise the top leg as you bring the top leg up parallel with the bottom leg. Don't lift it too high. So we're just lifting it, about 10 or 15 centimeters away from the bottom leg. And then find your stability there. Feel the abdominal muscles switch on to support you. And then let's see how we go raising the top arm. Reach up. Keep the side waist. Instead of pressing into the floor, keep it a little bit lifted. And then lower the arm partially towards the floor. And raise it again. Exhale, parallel to the floor. Inhale, raising up. One more time. And then this time, bend your elbow, support yourself with your hand, lower that leg, and come to bend your legs into right angle position. All right, settle in there. And then let's just work with the outer hip muscles to strengthen them and lift your top leg away from your bottom leg. Pause there. You've only come up to the level of the hip, so not any higher than that. Your shin bone parallel with the floor. And then if you go ready to go here, raise up that arm, stretch up, and lower down. If you are really wobbly here, you can keep your hand in front of you to support on the floor, or keep the arm extended up without lowering it. But I think we're all doing really well here. And this time when you lower the arm, lower the top leg. You might give that outer hip a bit of a pat. Good job. You can loosen up now. And then let's come up into our version of Anatasana and stretch out your legs again and draw the belt in for the support you might need. Bend your top leg, slide your foot along the inside of the leg until it's close enough to slip the belt on to your foot. Get a good grasp of your belt and extend that leg. And I keep the leg a little bit in front of the line of my body. And straightening through the hamstrings, we did our hamstring work in the lying down position, straightening that leg as much as you can. Notice if you're still breathing evenly. I know I'm challenged when I'm talking at the same time. And then gently fold that leg down, slip the belt off, extend the top leg along the bottom leg, and once more lie belly down. It's quite comforting to lie face down. Fold your arms, rest your head onto your folded hands if that's comfortable for your neck, or you might find it more comfortable to turn your head to the side. And then check that you are lying in a straight line on your mat, that you haven't curved your legs to one side or the other. And while we're here, and because we warmed up with the bridge poses in the first part of our session, we might take that into a small version of cobra. Sometimes it's called baby cobra. So release your hands and slide them back until they're underneath your shoulders. Rest your forehead onto the mat. And bring your elbows in closer to your ribs. So your elbows are elevated near to your ribs. And there's a line of direction from your tricep muscles, the arms, part of the arms that are facing the ceiling. And from there, lift your hands just a fraction off the floor. So what you've done is you've just stimulated the back muscles to support you in that lift of your hands. And then replace your hands onto the floor. Once more, press your pubic bone down, press the tops of your feet down, lift your hands and just a couple of centimeters off the floor until you feel the support through your dorsal thoracic. And then resting your hands. Let's move to lift the head, but just a little bit, like you've lifted the hands, just a small amount. Lift your hands, lift your head. You're looking straight down at your mat. Adjust the weight onto your pubic bone again. Lengthen your tailbone. And then lower your head, lower your hands. And finally, let's come up into a small arch. Lift your hands, lift your head, and then take support through your hands, press down through your hands. Bring your upper arms in closer to the sides of your body to lower your shoulders. And this time, instead of looking up, just look out towards the end of your mat and move your chest that direction. And then slowly starting to lower down. Just before you reach the floor, keep your head elevated slightly. Adjust your posture again, press your pubic bone. Lift your hands once more so you can feel your upper back. And then finally, bend your elbows and go back and rest your head onto your folded hands. Separate your feet a little bit more, give your buttocks a shake out. And just before we finish here, rest your head onto your folded arms, onto your hands. Bend your legs, and then circle your feet. Circle one way, circle the other way. And then let's come into child's pose as the approach to what we'll do next. Lifting up and folding back. So you're moving from back arch to forward bend. Keep the fold at the front of your hips very deep and draw the abdomen up away from the floor. Right, and we'll do just one forward stretch. So I'm going to use my chair for this, and then that chair is available for legs on the chair relaxation. But we're not quite there. I have a small bolster to sit on. You might sit on a folded blanket in front of the seat of the chair. So take a cross-legged position. And adjust your seat on the support. So that you can sit comfortably upright before we go forward. So take note, when I cross my legs, maybe 99 times out of 100, I cross them with my right leg in front. So I'm going to take the more awkward position. And you might try that too, where your opposite leg is in front. So now my left leg is in front of my right. Whatever it is for you. And then notice how that feels. And there was a good reason why I didn't do it this way, because that makes my front ankle a little bit sore. So go back to whatever position gives you the most ease in bending forward. I'm going to go back to right in front of the left. Fold forward from the tops of your thighs and the bottom of your pelvis, and reach your hands onto the seat of the chair. We just want to keep deepening that hip fold, that hinge at the front of the hips, so that the back can stay neutral. So most of that bend coming from the hips. Now I'm able to go still a little bit farther forward. And without rounding my shoulders or rounding in my back, I fold my arms and I can rest my head onto my folded hands. If that's not the case for you, then keep a more upright position so that your chest doesn't collapse or that you put pressure onto the back of your spine. All right, and then for form's sake, let's explore the opposite position for your legs. So recross them. See how you go here. So that deep fold at the very top of your thighs. It's as though the sitting bones move farther back to give access. And just notice how it is for you on this opposite cross leg to be in forward fold. Keep the lift through the abdominal area from the top of your pubic bone to the navel center. And just in the last part here, lift the core of your heart, lift at the front of your throat a little bit. So we're forward bending, we're relaxed, but not completely relaxed. So you've got a little activity in that sense of lifting. Right, and then roll up to an upright position. Extend your legs well. Extend through the backs of your legs from your buttock bones to your heels. Flex your feet, long legs. And then we're going to have two more parts to this session. We'll use the chair for legs on the chair for short relaxation. Take what you need for that, maybe a support for the back of your head and your neck. An eye covering works well here. The second thing that we'll do following this is to do some seated breathing. If you're taller, you might need to put a folded blanket or two onto the chair so your legs have the right support for your height. If you're shorter, you can do the reverse and have your buttocks resting onto a folded blanket. Let's settle in. I'll do a little drilling through the back of my body so I can feel the base of my spine, my sacrum. And same thing with my upper back and that sense of pressing the shoulders to open up the front chest and broaden the collarbones. So we've done an all-round kind of practice, but without the standing poses, without the inversions to a large extent. So the emphasis has been on being gentle and adopting a cooling practice. And to have a complete yoga practice, it incorporates this relaxation to whatever extent you feel that you need it. Most of us need a lot of time in relaxation and shavasana. Relax and soften your facial features. So eventually the characteristic expression fades away and the face feels neutral. You're relaxing the corners of your eyes, the corners of your nose, and the corners of your mouth. Or you might just begin to think about moving before you actually do. And remind yourself to take all the time that you need to do that. We're in no rush here. And when you're ready, lower your legs and roll to the side to take a seated position. I'll use a support to sit on in cross-legged position. Do a little bit of your forward bend that you did in cross-legged position and lean forward from the hip fold until you can sit a little more solidly onto your sitting bones. Then rest your hands onto your legs, either palms down or palms up, and drop your shoulders. We'll take a breathing practice, and just for 10 cycles, that's sometimes called straw breathing or even the who breath. And it's easy to count out 10 cycles here on the fingers. And we'll do those 10 cycles breathing in through the nostrils and breathing out through pursed lips. And it goes like this. Inhale. Much as you would if you were breathing out through a straw. So let's take this in our own time. Our posture is comfortably erect, shoulders relaxed. You can incline your head a little bit towards your chest and remind yourself to lift and open your chest. And let's begin.
You may begin at any time.
So we'll bring that type of breathing to a close. If you're still going, it's fine to go a little bit longer to finish up in your timing. Otherwise, gently open your eyes once again and bring your hands together to complete our session in prayer position in front of your chest. Lift the corners of your chest just by lifting your elbows a little bit. And then finally, incline your head towards your heart. Feel at the same time that you're elevating and opening your heart. And allow yourself to breathe in and breathe out. Here we show a sign of respect to ourselves and to each other. And that is what we say, Namaste. Thank you.